Welcome to the Nobody Knowz podcast with Callie Zamzo. Join us for conversations with local changemakers and hear the stories that don't always get told. It'll be honest, messy and beautiful, touching and humorous. Slow down, pour a glass, and pull up a chair. This is the Nobody Knowz podcast.
Welcome to Nobody Knowz. I'm your host, Callie Zamzo. I'm going to jump right in to the tip of the week. Oh, Jody, I said it right. Tip of the week. So we're nearing we're kind of sunsetting season 1 here, and I'm just now beginning to do things right.
I'm proud of you. This is like a journey for you.
It is.
I think you've done a really nice job.
Thank you. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that I've gotten better at that nobody will know because it was all behind the scenes stuff.
It's the Nobody Knowz on Nobody Knowz.
Right.
Bam!
Nobody wants to know about that.
And nobody wants to know.
That's right. That's exactly right. So the tip of the week has to do with Grandma Z's dog food. And this was a brand that was the brainchild of my dad. And he came up with it because he noticed that there was a just this large gap between, and I don't mean to disparage, but grocery store brands, and then going all the way to the other side of the table, which is making all of your food from scratch for your dog. There is absolutely some really good foods that you can buy in a bag, and one of them is Grandma Z's dog food, and it was formulated for Zamzo's. It can only be purchased at Zamzo's, and we like to say it's for our customers. There are 3 different formulas. There's Idaho trout and potato, which is the most popular. It's the most hypoallergenic. And there's also a chicken and vegetable formula and lamb and vegetable. So depending upon what sort of protein that your animal needs, that will be the choice that you make there. And it's very balanced. It's good for everyday, in all stages of life. And it's an incredibly big seller. And people who get on it love it. And they talk about all the fun things, like the fact that the poop doesn't smell as bad. We talked about that earlier today. There's less cleanup because it's more digestible. So there's going to be, and particularly less of those fun ones that are not easy to pick up. I'm just going to say it that way. That's as clean as I can get.
There's no delicate way to talk about
there's
that.
no delicate way of saying that.
People that are dog owners know.
Yes,
yeah.
This is exactly true. I was in the store the other day, and there was a guy in there who was talking about his. It was a Great Dane who's having ear troubles, and he has also added we have a fermented product, and so he's added a fermented product in there, which helps get the gut in order. And anyway, together he's been able to, along with Grandma Z's, he's been able to clear those ears up. And then he had to go out of town, and the dog sitter was feeding something different. And when he got back, the ear gunk was back, and then he put the dog back on, and it went away. So he's like, it's clear as day. It was my own little accidental experiment. So anyway, lots of good reviews. Here's the good news, Jody.
I'm ready. Let me get to the edge of my seat. Okay.
We are currently having a sale that's called Wags to Whiskers. And it is, there are discounts on everything for dogs and cats. And so these dog foods, if you want to try them, they're on sale right now through the 15th of June, 2026, in case you're listening in the future. And so Grandma Z's dog food, large bags are $8 off.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Is there a limit?
Can I stock
up?
A limit. I think you can stock up, yeah. Yeah, and people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do that. It's $5 off of the 10-pound size, and then $3 off of small Grandma Z's dog and cat foods. So I'm going to throw cats in here too, because they're also included. They're the whiskers of the Wags and Whiskers. National brands, if you have a national brand, we also have discounts on those as well. And pet supplies are 25% off. I think there are some exclusions, but for the most part, if you want to get something for your pet, this is a great time to do it. So there you go. There's your tip of the week. Come on in. Come see us before the 15th, and we'll save you some money. Now we're going to switch to human food. And I want to tell you a story and I have to read this because I didn't remember it from my memory, but this is a true story. On July 16th, 2017, my daughter and husband and I were downtown just kind of kicking around, and we were where the area that I used to call everybody used to call the 8th Street Marketplace. Now it's called something else, Bodo, I want to say. But anyway, we were kicking around down there, and there was this commotion going on. There were some people playing cornhole on the sidewalk, and there was a lot of people, and we're like, what is going on? And we realized it was a new ice cream shop. And we were like, well, let's go in because we are big ice cream fans. And so we did. We went inside. It was such a fun little shop, and we began to like lean into like what's the difference here with this place. It was called the STIL, STIL. Yes, yeah. Okay, got to say that correctly since we're featuring it today. I just know it as the STIL. And anyway, they have like some like alcohol infused ice cream, which is interesting. And they also have like dairy-free options, and they have gluten-free options, and I think even vegan. Well, we'll get into this. Anyway, long story short is that we were there that day, and now when I go there, I'm super bummed because there's like a thing where everybody who was there signed something, and we didn't sign, but we were there. I'm telling you, we were there. So every time I go there, I'm like, well, we should be up there because we supported it on day one. Anyway, now it's time to introduce I've got two guests. And so Kasey Allen and Dan Sell, welcome into the studio. You are the owners of the STIL, yes, and other things. We'll get to that too. But welcome to the studio.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having
Glad
us.
to be here.
Yeah. So that was a fun day. It seemed like you had a lot of family and whatnot that were there, and
It was a crazy day.
yeah. I mean, it was packed,
Pretty
and there was
wild.
like
Like
a
a
whole like
24-hour day.
area was just really. There were so many people, and they
Yeah,
were
it
so
was
excited about
A
it.
great turnout. We can pull that sign off the wall if you want to sign it retroactively.
That would be so
Yeah,
great.
no one has to know.
I was
that you
just
didn't
glad
sign it
that
day
like no bad drawings ended up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is miraculous.
Usually something ends up on there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So that was the first location, right? Was that like your
Yep,
very
yep.
first foray into all of this?
Mm-hmm.
In case people don't know what STIL stands for, do you want to share that?
Sure, it's an acronym for the sweetest things in life.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love your merch too, by the way. I was noticing your merch you're wearing. But every time we're in there, I'm like, ooh, what merch do they have? It's kind of fun. Okay, so let's, I guess before we get going too far, I want like each of you to kind of introduce yourself, and then let's tell the origin story of how this came about. So which one would like to go first?
How do we want to, what information would you like in the introduction?
I
Well,
was born on a cold
2:12 a.m. in Shaker Heights. Yeah.
whatever's pertinent. What do you feel like sharing?
I am now a 10-year Idahoan, so originally from
Nice.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Which is where the ice cream kind of idea percolated from. Kind of grew up on that kind of nice homegrown ice cream place called Honey Hut. We go every Sunday. We moved here. There wasn't any, so that's kind of how that idea came about. So yeah, I guess wasn't like a lifetime entrepreneur. It's kind of always wanted to be one, but decided to wait until I was, 40 years old to try it. So yeah, luckily I met Kasey. We're here, and we're 14 years apart, we're very much the same person. So pretty easy. Yeah.
Nice. What did you do before?
What didn't I do before? So, I started in real estate. Let's see. I did real estate, airport consulting, real estate again, investment banking, corporate finance, web development. I've had a variety of jobs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of that's probably its own interesting story about how
Yeah.
one wove into the other.
I've lost my job either via firing, layoffs, or hybrids 5 times. So
Oh boy.
yeah, I should have known I was an entrepreneur a long time before that, right? You kind of should have took the hint maybe on the third one.
Something was
I
tapping you
got
on
a
the
5,
shoulder.
so,
Sometimes
yeah.
we don't listen when we're younger. Like we get tapped
Right.
on the shoulder, but we're too busy, and it seems annoying to think
Yeah.
about anything else.
That's right.
How about you?
well, I'm Kasey. I'm actually born and raised in Boise, and I got bit with the entrepreneurial bug when I was in college, and just met Tess, who also works here at 116 West, but she worked at Ballyhoo right out of college, and then was at HP for a short time. Met Dan, and we originally, with Dan's background sort of in web development and stuff, we were actually going to go kind of software in the app space. And so we had an idea actually for a golf app, or like a golf product, because I grew up playing golf and had this kind of idea. And so we were in the throes of starting that. And then Dan, who has 3 kids, and like you said, we're 14 years apart, so I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 25-year-old or something. And he just kind of asked, like, where's the ice cream in this town? You know, they had just moved to Boise about a year prior to when we met. And we met playing slow pitch softball. And he was like, hey, you know, where do I take my kids if we go downtown and eat dinner? You know, like there was, I think, a Ben and Jerry's. There's a Ben and Jerry's on like 10th Street.
Yeah.
And that was about it, you know. And so he was like, you guys don't have like a local ice cream spot? Like where do we go after dinner? And so that was sort of the starting point for us to say, maybe we should do that. And so being a born and raised Boisean, I think sometimes you don't even have an awareness of what doesn't exist in your town, right? Like it's just what surrounds you is what surrounds you. And so I had like never really even thought about a local ice cream spot necessarily. And so then Dan started explaining, you know, Honey Hut that he grew up on, his wife's from Louisville, and they had, what was in Louisville? Was that the,
what they have? They have a couple, but they had, I can't remember if it wasn't Louisville cream. It was something else. Yeah. I can't remember what they had.
Anyway, and then they lived in Columbus, and Jenny's is you can now get Jenny's in the grocery store, and they're all over the country, but they were in Columbus kind of when Jenny's was coming up. And so when they came to Boise, they're like, where's the local ice cream spot here? And so kind of seeing that gap in the market, we were like, maybe we could do that. So we pivoted away from software and you know, tech stuff and figured out how to start an ice cream brand.
So you meet, and then it was like pretty quickly you're like, we've got something here where we could create something. You just didn't know what it was going to be yet. I mean, is that kind of how it was, or did you like you were friends and you were just kept like, hey, you know, it'd be kind of cool. Yeah. We ought to do this.
The way I remember it, you're asking us to go 10 years back in time here, but the way I remember it is, you know, we met playing slow pitch softball. So when Dan had moved here, he knew my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law kind of managed a slow pitch team and invited Dan onto the team, and I played shortstop. Dan played third base, and we just, through talking on the left side of the infield, realized that we both kind of had this entrepreneurial desire. You know, we just liked entrepreneurship, we liked business, and so we just started kicking ideas around. And then I think we also have very complementary skill sets. You know, Dan comes from a background in kind of that finance side. He's a wizard with spreadsheets. You know, has that sense of the finance and kind of accounting side, and has been in like the operations side of different businesses. And I came from more of like a marketing and branding perspective. So we just kind of had that complementary skill sets to where like we got along well together, we worked well together, our skill sets aligned, and we both wanted to do something. And so, I don't know, we were just like, let's let it rip.
Yeah.
So take me to the moment when you began to realize, okay, we think we've got an idea here. It's an ice cream shop. Like, how did that, like when you were like, okay, we're going to create this. Tell me about that.
Oh, that was rather, what? It was like an hour, honestly. So we had met at Beer 30, which is now
Barrio, where Barrio is in Bound Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
Crossing, right. And we were actually meeting to discuss Caddy, which was the app we were working on. It's golf relevant app. Kind of Kasey taught golf lessons, and every time he came back, be like, I don't remember a thing I taught this last person, so we could build an app for that. So if anyone out there wants to build that app, go ahead and build it, because it still doesn't exist. But I can't remember how we had the ice cream discussion, kind of like that was just a casual one-off thing, and then we kind of were tossing the idea back and forth, and we were in front of the bartender, and she gave us our beers, and she kind of overheard, and she's like, if you build that place, I'm so going there. And we just kind of like laughed. You laugh uncomfortably. And then we went back and we kept kind of discussing that. And that evening I went home and I bought an ice cream maker off of Amazon just to be like, how hard is it to make ice cream? Because we decided that evening we're kind of move forward on it. And I found out, you know, if ice cream is one of those things, if it tastes good before it goes in the machine, it's going to taste good coming out, because all it is, you know, frozen version of that.
Sure.
It's like a blended drink, right? Yeah, and I mean, 10 months later, we opened the still door, so it was kind of funny. I told my one buddy, he's since divested of a series of hot chicken restaurants in Columbus, Ohio. He's like, Dan, you got to get a cart, and you try the cart, and if that works, you do this. And I'm like, Joe, I am 40 years old. I
gotta
cannot.
skip ahead.
I can like either I go
pushing a
for
cart
it.
down
Yeah, I'm
downtown
pushing a
Boise.
cart in downtown Boise as a 40-year-old. I have my MBA, damn it. Like I can't right. It's like I'm not going to be doing that. So we just jump feet first into the thing, and yeah.
So it could have been just a regular ice cream shop. Like you could just like knock off, Baskin Robbins or whatever. You did not do that.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean,
We
thank
didn't know
you.
what we were doing.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say mostly just ignorance. I think
Yeah, we didn't know
just
what we were doing.
I think I've said this before, but I think sometimes people come at a business from like a passion that they have. I grew up making cookies with my grandma or something, and I've always wanted to have a cake business or something. Like it's something that they have a passion for that they've been doing since they were a kid, and then they want to try to figure out how to build a business around it. We kind of came at it from the other angle where we didn't really know anything about ice cream or really the food industry or brick and mortar retail businesses. But we kind of had that like business acumen. We sort of had a good sense of business. So it was more like we knew business. We wanted to be entrepreneurs, and then we sort of found what we were going to create that around. And in a lot of ways, I think that was kind of a happy accident, right? Like a Bob Ross happy accident where we didn't know what we didn't know. And so to us, Dan buys this ice cream maker off Amazon. It was like a Cuisinart countertop ice cream maker.
I think I've got that one.
Yeah. And we just
It makes a
started
good product.
and we just started kind of messing around in his kitchen. And it was like, to us, the obvious thing to us was like, if we're going to make a peanut butter ice cream, we're going to use real peanut butter. If we're going to make a coffee ice cream, we're going to use, real coffee. If we're going to do a mint flavor, let's get mint leaves and like cold steep the cream. And, so kind of curating that menu, to us, it was just really obvious that let's just, whatever we're trying to make, let's use those ingredients. And I think we found out after the fact that that's not necessarily how people do it in the ice cream world. It's more about like flavorings and like paste and like these kind of gross inputs that obviously drive the cost down a lot in terms of how much you're putting into it, but I think make an inferior product. So it was almost like I distinctly remember. So we went to this as we were coming up with this idea. We went to the NICRA, it's the National Ice Cream Retailers Association. We went to their annual convention in Reno, Nevada. So if you've ever had Ed and Carl take Reno, that's that flavor, our Idaho bourbon flavor, is a callback to our trip down to Reno.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and
I won $1,000 at the craps table.
yeah, it was
Really?
a good time at the craps
It was
table.
a great. I think I rolled for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It seemed I was drunk at the time, so it might have not been 40 minutes, but it seemed like 40 minutes.
It was actually 8 hours.
A lot of bourbon. And so we met all these ice cream shop owners or company owners at this conference. And it was one of those moments where it's like you meet someone who's doing something and you're like, oh, you're just a regular person. Like if you can figure this out, we can figure this out. And one of the people that we met there, probably a year or so after we opened, came to the downtown store, the original location, and ordered. It was our cookie butter. So it's like weekend getaway. It's like a Biscoff cookie butter ice cream. And she orders it and she tries it and she's like, how did you guys make this flavor? She's like asking me how we made it. And I'm like, oh, we just took the cookies and like blended it up into the ice cream base and then, made an ice cream from it. And she was like, she just gave me this look like, what? Like, are you crazy? And I was like, oh, I guess that's just not how people do this. Like, to us, that was like the most obvious thing, but she's thinking like, where did you source this flavoring from? How did you do this? And to us, it was just like, oh, we just took the cookies and put it in the ice cream. Like, I don't know, like that seemed pretty obvious, but that was kind of an interesting like moment. And then I think we just wanted to offer, unique flavors and a unique experience, like the alcohol infused stuff and the dairy free stuff. Just try to, create sort of something that is unique but accessible to people and that doesn't necessarily exist. So added the beer and wine stuff to it as well. Kind of that idea was originally just to winterize the business more than anything. It's like, well, maybe we can kind of do beer and wine. Maybe I think our original thought was that people would eat ice cream during like the warm summer months, and then maybe in the winter months we'd be more of like a beer and wine destination. And then that's not necessarily how it panned out. It became much more of an incorporated thing, but I think when you're just building something from scratch, you throw a bunch of ideas at the wall and kind of see what people grab onto.
Yeah. What it's created is that you have certain flavors that you can't get anywhere else. And then people I'm talking about me, crave certain things. So like I can tell you that sincerely, deja vu, like there are days that I'm like, I need deja vu. Like I need it now.
Yeah.
And you can't get it anywhere else like that. And my daughter's the same way. That flavor is just like,
That's so funny.
That was an accidental invention by.
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Bless you.
Well, you know what's funny is
Or curse you, one or the other.
Yeah, deja vu is like probably our most polarizing flavor.
Really?
It's like I would say 60% of people have your reaction and they're like, this is my favorite thing that I've ever had as an ice cream, and about 40% of people are like, nah, I wouldn't eat that. And I actually fall in the 40%.
Really?
To where I don't think it's bad. I mean, it's ice cream. I don't think it's bad, but it's not something I would personally ever order or get. But yeah, it was just it was a flavor just made out of necessity in our early days. I think we were just because like our original opening, we had like maybe 12 flavors. Now we do 24 at a time.
Yeah.
And I think we were down, we were just getting those early days, we were getting hammered every day.
I think
we had the vinaigrette or like some weird flavor in there. It wasn't selling. And then we're like, we got to get something else in there. We pulled that one, and then Kasey put that one together.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I really like it. So here's the funny thing. So my husband's in the 40%.
Okay.
He doesn't dislike it, but he and I always share. We get one with 4 flavors. And so they jam it all in there, and then he always asks for that to be on top so that I can eat that off, and then we can share the rest of it.
You just grab it with your hand.
Yeah, he's like, get that. Like I don't, and then I'm like, do you want some? He's like, no, I'm good. I don't need any of that flavor. Just for our listeners. So let me see if I can get it right. Right, it's almond cream, which is I think the part that I'm addicted to. Oreos, who doesn't like Oreos, and waffle cone. Yeah. It's a pretty simple little
Very
combo.
simple. Yeah.
But if you are an almond person that likes like that almond essence,
It's got like an amaretto-y kind of,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's kind of got that amaretto flavor.
like I feel like all ice cream should have that flavor in it. It's so good.
It's pretty good.
It's really good. And then there are other ones here. So this. Would you like to hear what our order is every time?
Absolutely.
So we share a bowl, deja vu, licking the spoon, which is brownie batter, right?
Yep.
That's my mouth is literally watering. After school special. So that's like peanut butter and no-bake cookies. Is that? Yeah. Okay. And then cookies with grandma, which is just chocolate chip cookie dough, but it's like to the next level.
Yeah.
It's coconut.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew there was something else going on there.
4 OGs.
Those are those are flagship flavors. You guys never go after any of the like season. Are you guys like, this is what we get and we just stick with it?
We try every time we're there. Hey, can we try
Sample.
this
You
one?
try this, and then you're one of those. Yeah,
I am.
People like
We always buy
like,
though.
I'll take chocolate after they try 12 flavors.
We know what we want, but every once in a while there'll be something they're like, ooh, okay, you want? And we're like, which one are we going to switch out?
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll be like, we'll get this, and then we'll get a sidecar of whichever the new thing is.
Sidecar.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. So I mean, fun flavors and very interesting flavors, and so that's got to be part of the fun now. Are you still inventing them? Are you still coming up? Like, do you wake up in the middle of the night with I've got the idea here?
I think this month I think we have like 3 new flavors in the case.
Really?
Yeah, we felt things got a little stale. We have 60 plus right in the kennel that we can pull out and be like, here, let's throw this one in. But you want to stay fresh and give the people something new to try.
Yeah.
So we have a cool mango one coming out that is just, it's delightful. I mean, it's just mango flavored ice cream, but it's it reminds me of more like traditional Italian gelato. It's like very smooth, just mango. It's phenomenal.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say part of that too is we have a really a great production team right now, and so they're always coming up with ideas. And so part of it is, we do have so many people who are like, when is, X, everyone has their favorite flavor. So when is this flavor coming back? Like, that's my favorite. And and so you try to rotate in those high demand flavors as frequently as you can. But like Dan said, I mean, we've probably made 200 flavors of ice cream, and we probably have about 60 to 70 that are like a consistent, rotate them in. Some of them were one and dones, they just didn't stay. They weren't popular enough to continue to bring them back. But then we also want to give that production team enough, freedom to kind of continue to be creative and invent new ideas. They constantly are coming to us like, hey, I had an idea for this flavor, and let's do it.
Who came up with the ice cream taco?
That's this guy over here.
Okay,
Yeah.
bless you.
That's why they're called Stilly Dans.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that. I just saw I think somebody had one. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Because it's like kind of like the old Choco Tacos, right?
Right,
Exactly.
right. That had been discontinued, and I'm like, man, we can make those. So it's really a
Except
stolen
for
idea.
so much better.
Much like the still was a stolen idea from my childhood, right? It's just like, but those are delicious.
They are, and you do them better than the Choco Taco
I think
people,
so.
but because the little shell stays it stays firm, and man.
It's been a process to get that. The ladies in the back have absolutely perfected it. I just was the idea person. Our production team actually they were the one that ran with it, and yeah.
Is your production at the Leta location?
Yeah.
Okay. I wondered about that because it seems like there's a whole back area, and I'm
For
like, I
now,
wonder if that's.
we need
I was going to say,
it's getting crammed back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you produce there and then you distribute out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Najla, who's been with us since week 3, I think.
Yeah.
She
August.
came to us. Most recently, it was like no more stores until we get a new kitchen. We're like, okay, but what about 2 more? Because we already had Eagle, which is open, and then we have possibly a spot in Garden City by Push and Pour. We're going to park a truck down there. So hopefully that all comes to fruition. But yeah, so this summer is going to be interesting. It's going to be a circus back there.
So all told, how many locations?
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus 3 independent vendors.
Yeah.
Because we have a coffee shop, Mountain Home, Barista, and they're doing gangbusters in Mountain Home. They're selling they just have our ice cream in a case, and then Dee's Trolley in Hyde Park, and then we have the one at the airport that they run.
Oh yes.
Independently. Yeah.
Bless you for that.
Yeah.
That has changed my whole traveling experience. And like they open at a decent time. So like
Yeah.
you
And
can
they've got
have ice
deja
cream
vu
in the
there.
morning. They do have deja vu there. They do. It's wonderful. It brings so much joy. I just kudos to the airport because they've made a lot of wonderful improvements. I love the local aspect of things, and that I was so delighted when I saw it. My husband and I were both like, what? This is the greatest thing ever. Yeah. So yay. Thank you.
Yeah, we love it. We like it because we don't really have to. We just drop ice cream off, so we don't have to worry about it.
Oh gosh.
Occasionally, folks will post their scoops. I'm like, that is a big scoop.
Congratulations to you on that scoop.
I guess it's not my margins at the airport, but like I'd be fretting if that was my shop.
That is so funny. Yeah. So it's funny because there's another ice cream shop in the area that we went to the other day. My husband and I did, and at one location the scoops are much smaller, and at another location they're much larger, and so we have a tendency to go to the much. But we every time we do the same thing, we're like, ooh, somebody probably needs to like standardize that because they're in one location they're probably not.
It's a never-ending battle
I'm
because
sure.
right, you turn over roughly 50, 60, 70% of your staff every year, right? Folks graduate from college and folks stick with us for a long time, but you also have like seasonal folks, or they'll go away, like they work for us in the summer and then go to school and then they come back, and it's like you have to retrain, and there's just certain, because it is about expectations, right? You don't want somebody to go to one and then they go to another and be like, this is so much smaller than the last one I got. Right.
Exactly.
They have a value in their head and you want to maintain that value.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you guys notice that like people were kind of picking up on your brand and like you started to have some regulars, and like when did you because obviously you start, people come in and like, oh, and they're trying it for the first time. You kind of get through that. At what point were you like, oh, like we've got something here. We've got some regulars coming in and we can maybe open another location, and tell me about that phase of the journey.
I mean, I feel like it was pretty quick, to be honest. It was, you saw it on day 1, and that first summer was pretty nuts, honestly. Like
we kind of lucked into old social media. It's not like this now, right? Where you could really market something on Instagram and Facebook, right? You can't
people
do it
would pay
anymore.
attention,
right? People's inundated with stuff now where you don't like half your stuff you don't even know it's an ad. Half your stuff isn't even stuff you follow, right? So, but back then it was like
shooting fish in a barrel, really.
Yeah, it really was. So it was our first soft opening Because we're like,
Yeah.
you're fretting. Is anybody going to come? Did anyone even know? Right? Did we do the right thing? Am I going to lose my house? But before we opened the doors, the line was out the gate, and it was this L, and we're like, oh, I think we might have something here.
Yeah, because we were making ice cream in the downtown location until we opened the Layta production spot until 2021. So 2017 to 2021, all of our ice cream was being made in about, maybe 100 square feet of that downtown store. And in those early days, like Dan and I were the ones making the ice cream until we brought Najla in. And we were working long, because we'd show up at 6 a.m., start making ice cream, and by like the end of the night, everything was gone. And so then we'd be stumbling to our cars at like midnight, and it'd be like, all right, see you in 6 hours, like have a good sleep, and so I think pretty quickly, we felt like we had something, because I think, when you open anything, like we did, our goal was definitely to make the STIL sort of one of the go-to places in Boise. Like if someone was coming to Boise for a weekend, and they said, hey, what are the things I have to do in Boise? What are the places I have to go? What is it? We wanted the STIL to be on that short list, right? Of like, oh, you're going to Boise for the weekend, you got to hit X, and the STIL and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like the market decides, right? You can do everything you can to position it, brand it, market it, have a great product, all those things. But at the end of the day, it's the market that decides whether you have been successful in that or not. And I think pretty quickly we were like, okay, I think we found something here. People resonated with the brand pretty fast. And I think, we sort of lucked into just great partnerships with, like even our product, one of the fun things about the ice cream itself is, again, one of those ignorant things that we didn't really know, but we actually bought a gelato machine instead of an ice cream machine. And so our what makes our ice cream is like, those are imported gelato machines. And so one of the main differences between ice cream and gelato, and why people, who go to Italy are like, oh, it's so creamy, it's so dense, it's so rich, is it's overrun. So overrun is the amount of air that's incorporated into the product as it's being churned and sort of turned from a liquid into a solid. The gelato machines pump much less air and whip much less air into the product. So you get a much denser, richer, creamier product. And that was, again, almost just something like that's the machine we bought and that's what we rolled with. And then it was like, oh, wow, this product's like really good. I mean, I think we made a much better product than we envisioned ever making. Obviously you set out, you're like, we want to make a really good product, but I think part of it was just luck too, right? We just didn't know what we were doing to some degree. And we were like, oh, that was kind of nice that we bought that. So I think people tried our ice cream and compared to what you could buy at the grocery store, or, not to disparage Baskin Robbins or anything like that, but it was just a different mouthfeel, a different texture, a different experience than what they had typically had. And immediately we just had people like, oh, wow, I've never had ice cream like that before.
Yeah, and you can't put your finger on it. I think that's funny that you're mentioning that, because I'm like, oh yeah, that is part of the reason why we like it. It is the texture thing, and the flavors are unique, and so there's a whole thing with that.
Yeah.
So there have been other ice cream shops who moved in since you guys did. So you guys moved in, and then it was like, oh, there's finally an ice cream shop. Now there are quite a few. I'm still. I think my husband and I kind of wish he was here, because he's like even a bigger connoisseur than I am. But we kind of, we pay attention to these things. We try them all. We want to make sure that, we're equal opportunity. We continue to go back to the STIL. And so do you have kind of this is tricky to even ask this, because I don't want to like give you an opportunity to act cocky or whatever. But is there a part of you that knows that you have something special enough that you're really not that concerned about other ice cream places moving in? Or is it part of the game of business?
Yeah. I mean, like, get back to, you're right. We kind of rode not only the social media wave, but we were like the first mover. Mm-hmm. Right. So that was nice. But I don't know. I mean, there is part of that insecure part of you, at least part of me, right? As an entrepreneur, you're the eternal optimist, but there is that voice in your head and be like, oh no, this person's like, there's another shop, and then there's like, now what Handles is coming in. There's some other like more national brands. Salt and Straw's coming to the Village, but it's a natural growth of a bigger city. But that all being said, I just think our product is superior. It's far superior to, and it's just a higher end ice cream, right? When it comes to taste and our inputs, as Kasey talked about, so I have confidence in the product, right? And we are very particular about our locations.
And your employees, if I could give a shout out to them. You have great employees.
The culture.
You haven't had a stink. I mean, I literally haven't met a stinker yet at any of your locations. They're all.
It's good to hear. You haven't found there's been some interesting.
But have you been to? No, I'm just kidding.
We've had some interesting folks.
No, we have been very lucky in the employee side of things for sure.
It's one of those things. If you find a couple good employees, they tend to know a couple good employees, right? So it's like if you find one or two, you found six. And if you find six, you're going to find, 6 more. It's just you find 6 friends. It's like a pyramid scheme. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What, do you get?
Yeah, I think early on when there was some competitors entering the market, we were maybe paying a little more attention to what they were doing and kind of like your defenses go up a little bit. But I think, by and large, we just kind of focus on what we're doing and stay in our lane. Like Dan said, like I would put our ice cream up against anyone in the country, and I feel very confident in the product. And it's hard to be objective about your own product and your own thing, but I think I can remove myself a little bit and be objective, and I think we objectively make a really, really, really good product. At the same time, ice cream for a lot of people can be a factor of convenience. And so a lot of people, they want a sweet treat. Even bad ice cream is still ice cream, right? And so if you're eating dinner and there's an ice cream shop 2 doors down, you're probably going to go there. And I think that we've just kind of learned to accept that there's plenty of, as the restaurant and retail growth of Boise has expanded, there's so many different pockets where there are a collection of restaurants and businesses and things like that. And so if someone else plants their flag right there, I don't think we've really necessarily noticed much of a decline for ourselves in terms of like the additional competition that's coming to the area. And so I think we just continue to try to do what we do. Like you said, we've been really fortunate that I think we've become like a cool place to work. And so we don't really have to all the applications come, I see every application that comes in, and I bet we get 5 to 10 applications a week, almost year round. So we have to say no. That's part of why we've been lucky to have no stinkers, right? Is because we have so many people who want to work for the STIL. And so we can just, and we love most of them are like, my friend works here and loves it. Like, I want to work here too. And so we've just been really lucky in that regard. And I think we have a good sense of what our footprint needs to look like, kind of how we want to proximally locate in different places. And so we've certainly said no to more stores than we've built at this point. We're constantly getting hit up about new developments here and there, and do we want to do something? And we just have a good sense of what our brand is and where we fit into the different pockets of the community. And I don't know.
What's weird lately is we're getting, kind of started last year, we're getting more, is you getting kids when they apply and we have them write things up and they're like, I grew up on the STIL. And you're like, oh,
thanks for making me feel old.
That's
Exactly,
cool.
I hate that.
It doesn't seem like that long, but then I look at his gray hair, and then I looked at, it's funny story. This is completely a tangent, but I'm always wearing my prescription sunglasses, and I guess it makes my hair look browner because I didn't have them on in the car, and I caught my hair in the rearview mirror, and I'm like, holy hell, it's all gray. When did it get so gray? So if I look in the mirror now, and my wife's like, yes, it's been gray for a while, you idiot. Like, what are you talking about?
For younger people, aging is an interesting thing. Like, you don't really even realize it's happening.
Yeah.
I feel 20 still in some ways. I mean, in some ways I clearly know I'm not, but there are lots of things that I'm like, oh yeah,
something my grandpa said. He's like, I am the same person in my head
yes.
that I was when I was in my 20s. He said, but like the mirror does not reflect that person any longer. It's one of those things, like I feel like you age like 5 years at a time to yourself.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you'll catch something or you take I took a picture, there's like wrinkles on your eyes and you're like, holy, when did those crow's feet get there.
I remember the first time I noticed them and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And now I'm like, oh, they just kept going. Like, what in the heck is
They
going on?
don't get smaller.
Here? And now I have to ask my daughter, I'm like, can I pull this off or am I too old for this?
Well,
And
even
thankfully
yesterday we were lifting. So we're moving our new case into Eagle, our new gelato case. And 9 years ago, I could have helped lift that thing. You were, because Kasey was like lifting it, and I was like, oh, I remember. Like I couldn't do it. I don't have it anymore in me to like just like brute strength.
Well, and I'm just more cautious too. I could maybe, but then am I going to pull something?
That's a good way to approach it. I could do it. I could.
Nice reframe
Just
for Dan.
so you know, I could do it. I just don't want to anymore. I've done it so many times. You do
right.
it.
It's time to let the next generation do it.
That's right.
Give everybody
needs,
their turn.
Yeah, he needs his flowers today. I'll let him do it.
So you didn't stop at ice cream. So you guys decided to and you're still growing this particular business, but you've also branched into other areas. You want to talk to us about that?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see. August of 2024, we acquired the Funky Taco on 8th Street, so 8th and Bannock. Acquired the Funky Taco. It was a restaurant that started there. Well, they started as a food truck in 2014, I believe, and then they opened their brick and mortar in 2018. And so we had opened the downtown store in 2017, and until we had all these different locations, Dan and I spent a lot of time and a lot of parking tickets downtown. And once Funky Taco opened, that was kind of one of our favorite places to go get lunch. We'd be at work, and then we'd be like, all right, lunchtime, we're hungry, and we'd probably twice a week we would walk down to Funky Taco. We just loved the tacos, loved the
Trader
food.
Joe's Funky Taco.
Yeah, we knew all the employees at Trader Joe's. And so we would go down and just love the tacos, love the food at the Funky Taco pretty much since they opened. And we were just kind of, I think, we've been fortunate. Like I would credit Dan with a lot of this, is like we've always focused ourselves on working on the business and not in the business as much as possible. So like from day one, we had a staff. Like we weren't the ones behind the counter scooping the ice cream and doing that. Obviously we were there a lot, but we wanted, hey, if we're going to build a business, and I think that's another benefit of coming at this from as entrepreneurs instead of as kind of like, oh, we have this passion around ice cream. You can see a lot of people who open a coffee shop or a bakery or something, they get really stuck in like their one location, and they're not that there's anything wrong with that. If you want to be like that day-to-day operator, that's great. But I think we had this vision of like, we're trying to build a company, not like a one location thing. And so we've been fortunate that the STIL, had gotten to a place where it was operating pretty well without us. I mean, we still go to work every day. We're still very involved, but we were kind of at a spot where we only had a couple hours of work to do kind of a day, and everything else was like, we've hired great people. We have a great director of operations, Marty, who kind of runs the show at the STIL. And so we were like, maybe we could branch out in like our little hospitality umbrella. And I think we've positioned ourselves, we have a good culture. We have a good sense of what we do well. And so we're just looking for new opportunities, and Funky Taco kind of fell into our lap. And so we're like, well, let's try a restaurant. And I think maybe the lesson here is, neither of us had ever worked in restaurants. So that was a big learning curve. Well, I guess Dan worked at a Boston market quartering chickens.
I bust some tables in my day, wash some dishes, and
like in high school though, in high school you worked, and I never worked in a restaurant growing up. So we took over a restaurant kind of very, very green. Ice cream is one thing, but it's essentially like variations of one SKU, and it's a frozen product. And, right. We have one centralized production area where we distribute out, and then we just have, you need anywhere from 1 to 4 employees at a time to kind of serve customers that come in. And then you go to a restaurant and you have a whole lot of different moving parts, and you have your front of house staff, you have your bar staff, you have your line cooks, your prep cooks, your executive chefs, your sous chefs, your dishwasher, like all this different food, perishable food items and things like that. So definitely a big learning curve, and
your margin of error is also narrower.
Yeah.
Right? Ice cream, from a waiting perspective, even a product perspective, expectations, I guess, are lower, for lack of a better way to say it, right? People will wait a long time in a line, right? They'll have just vanilla, chocolate, and for most folks, they just are they're just looking for some good ice cream. Where with a restaurant, you kind of have, especially your first time, and even just repeat folks, you have to hit that bullseye every time. If they have one bad experience, you might not see them again. You maybe not for 6 months, a year. They're going to tell other folks. So it's definitely a different, you have to be more focused on the restaurant side. Not that we're not focused on the ice cream side, right? But that customer service at a restaurant is pivotal. Serve your customers, serve them well, and that you get rewarded with typically tips, and they come back and they'll tell friends. And so I think we kind of had that muscle memory, but it definitely is important when you run a restaurant.
I've always thought, with the STIL and then extending to Funky Taco, it's like we're in the experience business, right? And so that's when I don't interview as many of our employees now as I used to, but I always tell them, and I think Marty now imparts this onto them, of like, we're an ice cream shop, but like at the end of the day, we're in the experience business. So we're trying to deliver a great experience to customers, and that's product, service, atmosphere. And then I think the same thing is true for the restaurant side, is like, this is an experience business. To Dan's point, another thing that I always reiterate to our ice cream employees, because lines go out the door, they can kind of feel like, oh my gosh, it's so busy. It's like, nobody that's in a rush or is running late for a meeting is stopping to get a waffle cone. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
true.
not happy. Like, people might be running late for work and they're like, I need to get my coffee. And you could like come up against someone who's like grouchy because they're running late and they're trying to get their coffee. But like, no one's like, oh man, I got a meeting in 5 minutes. Let me stop by and get a waffle cone, right? Ice cream is a decision that you make when you have nowhere to be, right? You're like after dinner, or it's a Sunday afternoon, you're going on a bike ride. Like you have nowhere to be. There's
fair.
no time constraints when you're getting ice cream. I think with a restaurant, you have people are like on their, lunch. We get a lot of folks in who work in the downtown corridor, who have maybe an hour for lunch. And so they're trying to get in and get out with their food, or they're going to a Steelheads game and they've got a time window of when they need to leave the restaurant. So the margin for error is a little bit tighter, but I think we've also learned a lot. I mean, to give ourselves some kudos, like we've done a great job with that restaurant. Not to by any means disparage the previous owners, like they set an awesome foundation. We still have all their food and everything like that. But there was an element of a turnaround project there, taking over the restaurant. And so I think it also reinvigorated us a little bit, even though it was really difficult at times, of like, we had to go back to like square one of like, oh man, we have this good thing going, and now we've got to figure out how to be entrepreneurs again and put in the work and like figure this thing out and get it kind of turn the barge slowly into the right direction. And so, it's been fun. It's been a challenge. And then we started Odd Box Breakfast Project out of there too. So it's a Funky Taco, lunch and dinner. And then we have the pink wall and the window on the side of Bannock, where we do breakfast burritos and breakfast sandwiches out of kind of Tuesday through Sunday in the morning. So that's actually taken off. Maybe we're actually one of the finalists for Boise's Best of Boise in Best Breakfast category for Odd Box this year. So pretty exciting, because that's only been open about a year.
Oh, that's fun. I happened upon it and I was like, hey, look at that. And so, it's very curious, and that's very cool.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I love what you guys are doing. I'm going to do a quick break here and talk about our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Zamzows, your local source for garden, pet, and planet-friendly products. As a thank you to our Nobody Knowz listeners, use code STIL, STIL, at checkout on Zamzows.com to receive 10% off your online order. The discount applies automatically, is valid online only, excludes loan programs, and runs through August 31st of 2026. You can even buy online and pick up in store at any of our 12 Treasure Valley locations. Visit Zamzows.com and let's grow something good.
Nobody knows like Zamzows.
Okay, we're going to shift gears. Now we're in the sharing is caring portion. So these are more rapid fire questions. So I'll throw them out there, and either one of you can answer, or both if you're feeling so compelled. We'll just see how it flows. Does that work?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so how about a Boise spot that you guys love right now? Could be food or not.
Trying to think.
I'm a big coffee drinker, and Slow by Slow is my favorite coffee spot. So I think the good people over at Slow by Slow, they just did a renovation of their space. It looks beautiful in there.
I saw that. I haven't been in there yet. But
yeah, they did a great job with the renovation. I think they actually just won an award.
Oh, really?
For some like national coffee award for like best design of a coffee shop. So that's really cool. But I spend a lot of time at Slow by Slow. The people there are great. The coffee's awesome. And that's one of my favorite places. If I'm like, I got to put my head down and do some work, bust through, 90 emails or whatever it is, because I've gotten behind. That's where I go to get it done. So love Slow by Slow.
Nice.
Yeah, we're in the middle of baseball season, so I'm not getting out as much. But during the week, I try to get to Goldstein's Bagels.
Ooh.
Once a week. They're down off of 8th and River.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love their stuff.
Yeah.
They got good. I'm not sure who supplies their coffee, but their coffee's good. Their bagels are awesome. The folks are awesome there.
Nice. I haven't been there. I will have to make a
check
point
it
of that.
out.
Yeah. Very
The
cool.
play at Leo's delicious.
Okay. All right. How about a local business or person that you think is doing something cool?
We were talking about them before we walked in here, but I'm gonna Gibson Berry Hill over at from Bacon. They're doing their Berry Hill bacon, the bags and the single bacon items. It's like a CPG take on the restaurant. So they've basically taken their bacon and made it like the shelf stable, restaurant quality, high protein bacon that you can ship across the country, find in stores, and I think it's a really cool way to expand their like restaurant business. But Gibson's a great dude, and I think that that product is really cool.
Yeah, that product is addictive.
Yeah.
It's like, if people are thinking, oh, it's just bacon. No.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. So yeah.
That's crazy. I know. I don't know what their secret sauce is to
I don't
make that
know either.
happen, but it's
I'm gonna
Crack
call
maybe.
I'm going to call out 2 businesses. I took up skateboarding stupidly in my 40s.
Wow.
It was a COVID project, and I've kind of stuck with it. In fact, I hurt my knee the other day, and it still hurts. I haven't been able to skate as much. But there's 2 folks. There's one is Prestige Skate Shop, which I think is on 10th. It's just a cool, great guys. You go in there and like, I'll sit there and chat with Greg for 30 minutes just randomly every now and then. And then our neighbors Push and Pour. I just love the culture they've built around their coffee and skating, and it's just a cool brand. Lucas and Brennan have done a heck of a job with just being who they are, and it's a coffee shop, but you can feel their culture with their folks, and you can feel the skate culture in there. I just think it's a cool vibe that they've created.
I went in there just the other day. I didn't even realize what it was, and I had a friend who was like, "Let's meet there." And yeah, the second you walk in, you're like, "Oh, like it's a very welcoming environment," and and good coffee,
great coffee.
Yeah. So yeah. How about something outside of work that helps you recharge?
For me, that's snowboarding. Like this winter absolutely killed me.
Yeah.
Like my brain never shuts off. Like I have a hard time. I mean, Kasey can attest in the evenings of shutting anything off. I'm always like, he'll probably wakes up to 6 messages about random stuff. Cause I have to, if I don't write it down, I'm also forgetful. If I don't write it down in that moment, it's like, I will not remember to ask him in the morning. But snowboarding you have to be in the moment, right? You can't think about any business problems, right? I tend to ride stupidly aggressive way. I'm riding with my 10-year-old now, so I have to keep up with him and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I just love that I can shut my brain off and just enjoy that. And I think you had Brad on at Bogus. Bogus does they do a heck of a job. I love that the mountain's right there, and I can just run up. We go up 2-3 times a week, right? That's how I recharge, and that like I really kind of missed it this winter.
Yeah.
It was kind of a bummer.
Rough winter.
Really rough winter.
I've got 2. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My first one, I was going to say, and it's pertinent to the tip of the episode. My dog's name is Wags. So when you said Wags to Whiskers, Wags. But
It was in your honor.
Yeah. So use code WAGS. No, but yeah, I love getting Wags out, especially along the river, and just like walking some of the trails. The Boise River's always been a good little refuge for me. I love just being along the Boise River, and so we get out for a lot of walks there. And then my first love that's kind of come back around to me is golf. Love golf. I grew up playing golf. I played in college, and then I took about 6 years off where I didn't really touch a club, started a business, did the whole thing. And then in the last couple of years, I've really found joy in the game again. So try to get out like once a week and play. And similar to snowboarding, you have a lot more time to think in between shots than you do. Snowboarding, you're more in the moment. Golf, you're more in your head because you're like dang it, why did I do that stupid thing?
Yes.
Now I'm in the trees trying to punch out, but that was stupid. But it's still, it's just I love being outside and just on the golf course and spend a lot of time at Warm Springs Golf Course. So shout out those guys too and their new clubhouse.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Since you got to, my other one, my summer one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's my winter one. My
Rapid
summer
fire,
one,
but not so rapid with us or chatties.
That's,
We have no rules
I
here.
coach baseball, and I coach my dog. I coach my kids in their sports. And there's nothing. And Kasey assisted me for a time there. There's nothing more in the moment than coaching kids because they just say the most ridiculous stuff.
Oh man.
We had one where a kid took his cup off on the mound.
Oh my gosh!
And
I don't know. That story's like not quite PG, but it was very funny.
Creates quite a visual.
Yeah, like threw it over the fence to his dad.
Oh, that's
he was
funny.
He was like picking at himself on the mound, and I'm like, Kasey, go find out what the heck's wrong with Charlie. I'm not gonna say his last name, but his dad will know because
he made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
Kasey comes back. He didn't have kids. Like I don't know what to do here. I was like, Charlie, come here. He's like, yeah. So we had him take his cup off, and he threw it over the fence to his dad because that's who Charlie was at the moment. They went back out and pitched some more. So yeah, kids. I love kids sports. It's
awesome.
just so funny.
Oh, it's so good, so good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're at the last question. This is a question that we ask everybody. There are no rules, so you can answer it however you like. So if you're thinking of asking me a question when I ask it, and you're like, "Is it this?" Don't ask me that question. Okay. You know the answer because there are no rules. Okay, here's the question, and you both get to answer this. What is something that nobody knows?
You've stumped us. No. I think I was gonna stay in the theme of our business a little bit. I think something nobody knows about the STIL a little bit is just how many spreadsheets we use. I kind of alluded to it at the beginning, but like Dan's a spreadsheet wizard, and I we have a lot of. You use Excel obviously like for finance stuff, but we have some really cool tools that Dan's built out that have helped us like run our business. And if you have like an idea of like, oh, we need to track this, or how are we going to figure this out? It's usually like Dan's like, I could probably build a spreadsheet for that. And I thank God because I don't know how to use it. Like I've tried to build a couple things in Excel or like on a spreadsheet and I'll send it to Dan. He's like, yeah, nice, cute start. Yeah. That's really cute.
Did you do it with crayons?
Yeah. Give me a little pat on the head, buddy. Like, look at you trying out there. And then he just makes it way better. But
put that on your fridge.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, I think when you think ice cream, you don't think spreadsheets necessarily. And we have some really creative tools that even other business owners have like asked me like, how do you guys do XYZ? And I'm like, I'm like the proud like dad, like, let me show you what my business partner built, like check this out. And they're like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. So I think that's like a fun thing about the STIL, the inside track is how many like creative spreadsheets we use to run that business. And it saves us a lot of doing this, checking the direction of the wind.
I admire that so much. Right now I'm actually I'm boning up on Excel to prepare for some other classes that I'm going to be taking. So it's kind of a requirement. And so I'm like, I know Excel. Like I'm like probably where you are with
You're
the
probably
Excel.
ahead of where I am.
But now like we got to the whole Boolean, and I'm like, if this, then this. I'm like, what? This is not, was just supposed to like a tally down and like give me a total at the bottom. Like that's what Excel does for me. But I had no idea it does all these functions.
Yeah.
And I'm actually having to learn them. And I'm like, how? So I admire that.
The great thing is AI's in there now, and you can be like, hey, AI, do this for me.
Ooh.
Do it.
Maybe they're going to teach us that part after we've learned the hard way, right?
Yeah. And I think I'm going to just relate to the business. Kasey and I hardly ever eat our ice cream.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Like, because even if I go with family, I'll usually just grab a beer when I'm there. I'll eat it. When I eat it is if I skip lunch or I like had a very small and I need something, I need some fat and sugar to get my brain going. Like I'll grab a little micro for that. Occasionally I'll eat it for lunch, but like, rarely. My kids eat it. When it's home. We always take friends there, but we don't. Because people are like, how do you guys stay so thin? It's like, well, neither of us eats it much.
I was going to ask that. It was one of my questions. Like, how do I ask this question without sounding?
Spend a lot of time at the gym.
Look, I was like, you guys don't look like you eat a lot of ice cream.
Yeah, I think every time I do eat our ice cream, though, I'm like, dang, our ice cream's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
We do make some darn good ice cream, but I think it goes back to, we didn't come at this from like, oh my gosh, we've been passionate about ice cream our whole lives. Like, how do we make an ice cream shop? We came at it from, we love business. What can we create a business around? And finding that gap in the market. Boise was in that like all the restaurant scene was so up and coming, and that was kind of the gap in the market. We just were in the right place at the right time, and kind of, Dan had the like, where's this thing? And then we just filled the gap in the market. So I love ice cream, but we just don't get high on our own supply.
Yeah. And carrot cake, by the way, is a great lunch ice cream.
Oh.
It's just a very rich. It has carrots in it.
Yeah.
Right. So you get your
That's
veggies.
legit. Yeah.
It's a superfood.
Yeah, it's a superfood.
I might go do that for lunch
It's got
today.
various spices, which I'm sure,
Sure, there's
make
always
you
something.
healthy. Don't spices make you healthy?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Everything is good in moderation, right?
That's right.
Well, thank you. Thanks both of you for being here. Thanks for telling your story. And more importantly than anything, thank you for deja vu.
Glad you like it.
Yeah,
Love
this has been wonderful having you on, and I wish you the best of luck. And I'll be seeing you now. When I see you guys in there, I'll be like, "Hey, we'll
there
be
you go.
friends," and then you'll be like, "Oh my God, she really does eat here a lot."
Which location do you guys mostly go to?
Lata is our number
Okay.
one, but we're downtown a lot, so the downtown location is quite a bit too. So
Cool.
Thanks for having us.
yeah,
thanks.
absolutely. If you enjoyed today's conversation, follow the podcast and leave a review. Next week, you'll hear from another incredible voice shaping the Treasure Valley. And until then, thanks for listening.